Hello, everyone, and thank you for the resub there, Levi. Thank you again. How have you been, Levi? How have you been? And welcome, everyone. We're going to be continuing Power Wash today. Power washing will continue until levels run out. Down a little bit. Busy with work. Things have been going pretty good. We're getting the rhythm back in. Trying to actually get some videos made, let alone posted. Working on another thing for the stream. A indeterminate thing. The airship is where we ended last time here. Right? Base surface isn't bad. I've seen you play the Pokemon games before, Levi. How are you like? Have you tried the new one? And if so, how are you liking it? I've seen mixed messages on its quality, but, you know, the internet being what it is, that is often not trustworthy. Would you take a look at this curious collage of befoulment, Dirt Finder? We must have flown through some kind of dirt cloud. We were spotless when we took off. With all that extra weight from the dirt, we were lucky to make it to the recreational grounds in one piece. Well, that's good. Semi-related, Nintendo got handed a bit of a smack in their ongoing patent shenanigans. Apparently, on the Japanese side, where the patent courts are a little looser with what they'll allow, they were not granted one of the ones they're trying to weaponize. This is good. I mean, I'm all for a company like, you know, the Pokemon Company to succeed. Fantastic. They make a product that is well known. But the way Nintendo is trying to use patents to fight competitors is resulting in just the worst press for them. Like, there is so much good faith being lost by that company right now. Because some of the patents that they're trying to get are just ridiculous. And some of the claims they're making in court are equally ridiculous. I mean, not Nintendo. They're kind of notorious for this kind of nonsense. But this is one of those things that they need a decisive court loss on this. Like, from a gaming consumer perspective, Nintendo needs to lose this hard. Seeing if that was interactable. I can't remember if it was in the first game, but they gave you the ability in this one to change the color of the dirt when you use the dirt finder pulse, the filth pulse here. And changing it to green has made it so much easier for me to see it. Like, the yellow was viable, but on some maps it didn't really help. Okay. Yeah, PowerWash is fun. Game programming has been moving along. We grow ever closer to an actual game. Like, we've been at, technically, it's a game for a while now, but, I mean, like, actual game. Oh man, light's good enough for this. Using that. Quite good enough around the boxes, but this might require a slightly slower pass. Let's use green. After this level, we should have enough for the next power washer. Maybe even during this level we'll be able to switch up. But we can't switch until we can get the soap nozzle in the two extenders. The other nozzles are largely like, meh. Nice to have, but not really a big deal. We don't need the full 5,000, but getting a full 5,000 before we get that will mean that we can get all the parts after exchanging our existing one. So if we get to 6,000, we don't even need to exchange. We can keep the prior one. And while I would never use the prior one having the newer one, I mean, you know, completionism. Why have just one when you can have all of them? Climb up on this? Not quite. But from this side. There we go. There was a usable indicated near here somewhere. Hey there, Lunar. And feel free to lurk, folks. Definitely a chill stream. as we shall be power washing. Power washing to some soft and somber music. With me yammering along as thoughts come to mind. Nice. No, I can't imagine this game would have done as well without that sound. Feedback sounds like that are really important in design to let users know they've done right. Like, this is what you were supposed to do. Here's a cookie. It's the same psychological mechanism that is used for loot box games, those big dramatic animations, where the better the reward, the more spectacular the animation. This game illustrating that you can use it without being evil. But it is frequently a tool for evil. Panel there. We're gonna have to climb up, not only on top of it, but be able to reach the sides of the whole thing. So I don't know that we'll have the abseiling rig for that. Would be very convenient to have the abseiling rig if we're gonna get up on the side of that thing. We shall have to see. I like the little smiley face engines there. Making me use a bit easily available tools. The airship indeed, Tess. Welcome. Pretty much picking up right where we left off yesterday. Okay. top here. And we'll make sure the underbelly is done. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's Pokemon. Were you expecting Unreal Engine hyper fidelity or something? It's cute little cartoony monsters and people, folks. Like, it's not like they're bad visuals. Yes. And I've mentioned this before, is that there's this push that everything has to be constantly updating its graphics to include the new shiny thing, and it's like, I don't really think we need audio and visual ray tracing in every game. I feel like it's actively to our detriment to try to do that. Hey, Drew. Welcome. I think it's ultimately that, like, you know, I wouldn't complain if the images, like, if they bumped things up, like, you know, I would be kind of upset if the Dragon Quest remasters just used the old sprites, you know? Like, this feels like a waste. You can do 2D games in a way more sophisticated way now. But it's, if they did a whole new art style to facilitate... 1 second here. For one will not be blaming the security forces for the heist of the gems. It's an elite unit, and how anyone got past him is almost beyond imagination. Also, don't we all have all switch off from time to time? There's a lot going on in that statement. It's an elite unit. How anyone got past him. It's one guy, and the implication is he took a nap. Yes, it's like there's a modernization, but simultaneously, if you had come in and completely altered the art style of it. Like, no fidelity to the prior art. The anger that you would be facing. Like, they still catch hell for going 3D. It's, yes, some of the art isn't as dynamic as the original sprites because the sprites could hold still. Even if they were just animating, they only had to animate from like 2 perspectives. That is a big difference from I need to be able to look at it from every angle. Can they do better? Yes, they can. But it's the let's be reasonable here, folks. The graphics aren't bad in that one. It kind of ties into the discussion we had last time. It's Pokemon games know what they are, and they don't pretend that they aren't that. Yeah, I remember they experimented with that, Levi, and then they stopped, and it was like, oh good, they stopped. They're not going to do that, because that was annoying. And then they actually did it. Oh, hey, Crooked Gamer. Haven't seen you swing through in a while. We're doing some power wash. Yeah, been pretty well. Sorry, I had to check the chat message, make sure I wasn't missing stuff. The thing I use to see all of the chat doesn't scroll, so... If I miss something, I gotta look at all the other windows and hunt it down. But been doing well. Schedule is coming together a lot better than it has recently. Nice, Crook. We were just talking about ZA a little bit. You know, about the inevitable folks that are like, this game isn't good enough. And I think that kind of mindset is, it's like, it's fine to have doubts, it's fine to have concerns, but eventually you need to decide, like, okay, I'm not going to engage in it because I don't like what I've seen or heard. Fine. But it's the propagation of that. You have the, I have preconceived notions and I spread them as if they are objective truth. Or I have things that I've seen that I don't like, so I'm not willing to commit my resources to finding out otherwise. And it ends there. Like, might your opinion change over time? Yeah, that's fine. One thing I find amusing is with the release of a new Digimon game, inevitably the bizarre trench war between those two games has reared its head again. You know, another iteration of the Nintendo Sega style debates. Not everything has to be a holy war. Not everyone will share your opinion. I'm still of the, you know, if it doesn't hurt anybody, do whatever you want. The it doesn't hurt anyone being the operative portion of that, you know? Exactly. Though I would say the critical element in it is anyone else. Like, you should consider yourself, but there are some things that can be considered harmful that aren't impacting other people. Like, what is the degree of actual harm to self, you know? Because if we take it at, like, the largest, most meaningful levels to it, you know? Then, yeah, you know, obviously, but, you know, technically alcohol is poison. The pleasant reactions you get are like a toxic reaction, and for some people, it's a full-on, like, you can't metabolize this, it's just poison. But, you know, a little of it is fine. Moderation is fine. But technically. How soon can you get to fumarole, boss? Either this seized up cement mixer comes unstuck or I do. I think that, again, kind of dovetails with that conversation yesterday, and that's allowing a piece of media to be what it is, you know? Like, it's fine to say, you know, I wish it was more. I would like to see them explore the Pokemon world more fully. Like, that is a criticism that I have, is that there's a lot of but we don't talk about that going on in Pokemon, you know? Like, a whole lot of we just don't talk about that. One of them was, a particular one is in the first Pokemon game. One of the early gym leaders is a member of the military. And it is clearly expected that those members of the military have their Pokemon companions as well. This implies the presence of armies. This implies the presence of military action in the Pokemon world. But we just don't talk about that. Did you ever play, it was on the DS, I think, there was a What If the Sengoku period, but with Pokemon? Hello, Ember. Hello. Hello, baby. Ember has come to sit with me. I realized that I didn't have the cats on camera. Or now I realize. There we go. Ember is being immediately squirmy if I don't cradle her properly here. It is... I kind of find a lot of those sort of spin-off crossover genres can be very interesting because they are an opportunity to explore other concepts. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is one that does that. Like, mystery dungeons are very established. That is a genre of its own. and has its own baggage and whatnot. But the big thing that it does with the Pokemon world is explore the lives of Pokemon outside of trainers in an environment where it's just Pokemon. Hey there, is it Pope? Either way, welcome, welcome. Things are going well. Things are going well. We got the new PowerWash game to just chill out with, so we're doing that until we run out of PowerWash to play. Yep. We still have the cat cams, though. If anything, cat cam technology has progressed extensively. I joke about it, but I definitely have my serial experiment lane going on. There is a lot of network cable. Yeah, she hopped down and she's trilling at me to decide if she wants to come back over. Okay, so far, one, we have the mayor of Muckingham is apparently the mayor of the county now, however that works. We have the jewel from the statue was taken recently. We have the city competition, which is kind of roiling things up. We have the mayor having returned, and keep in mind the mayor was pretty much the villain of the last game. It was a plot by the mayor, I'm going to make money at the expense of the entire region. Which through various hijinks and shenanigans, we ended up solving. Aliens were involved. Ancient cults, time travel, and what have you. Second here. Checking something. Oh, where did I put that button? Button! There we go. That's what that is. Button. Okay. Seems like there's a halfway point on the side of some of the airship here, so that'll be useful. We haven't really had a need to deploy soap yet. Given that 13 on there, this airship has his name, essentially. This is very much the kind of guy that if he didn't have, a frequently uses his cat as kind of his emblem. If he didn't have that, he's the kind of guy that would definitely have his face on his stuff. Get this over here while we're at it. So this, for his Zeppelin, he's like, oh, we don't know what happened. We just started flying and then it got covered in muck. So again, clearly something going on here, but we're not yet at the point where we're getting clues of what is happening. Just that something is definitely happening. Circumstances are sus. Would be amusing if the cat's got a even heavier roll. That's as far as we can reasonably reach on that part. We can just get to the halfway point on a lot of these as far as, like, the edge that is not cleaned. Then it'll make it easier to clean when we get up at the top. Essentially, anything we can reach while we're down here, we should get out of the way. But yeah, like I've mentioned just all the time, very chill stream, PowerWash, so feel free to chat. I have plenty of time to do so. It's not like it's a super precision game, so it's not a worry of distraction, you know? If anything, the game is a distraction. It's just that sort of mental, you can just do this kind of vibe. Okay, let's... How far can we jump here? Pretty far. PowerWash parkour at work. Jefferson the 13th. One thing I think we can all agree on is that the statue's practically worthless now, so there is 0 point in a security force hanging around. Tell you something else, I won't miss paying to get that darn statue cleaned every single day. For no reason at all, now that, you know, the gem was mysteriously stolen under circumstances we shouldn't investigate or look further into in any way, you know, maybe we don't need to worry about it and shouldn't think about it at all anymore and just, you know, move on. There's a channel called Mini Minuteman that does, like, stories about, like, anthropology, archaeology, that kind of stuff. It's a very entertaining, educational style channel. And it is one of those channels where they're mentioned, like, hey, it's something that, hey, it's another thing that you should consider listening to while you're doing the laundry. And that can be the advantage with having, you know, doing stuff that doesn't require direct focused attention. That's why I like audiobooks. Like, I have no problem sitting down and reading something, but, you know, you have to sit down and actively read. As opposed to listen to some good narration on a story that you like while you're either doing something, in general, just doing anything else. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Come on. Yeah, instead of the text messages, have like little audio clips. The mayor really does strike me as needing a voice actor, would need a voice actor to which the phrase peasant would come very easily. We're going to need to get... we might be able to reach that just fine if we go out in the wing a bit. Might switch to yellow to get the... yeah. Very shiny. Very shiny. split the work in half here. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it, Pope, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. As embarrassing as it can feel now and again, it's nice that there are people that tune in because they have a good time. Means I'm doing something right. See, and that connects very nicely to an early thing I was talking about, the positive reinforcement. The PowerWash Simulator ding. Hope, have you been seeing the game dev streams that we've been doing? Shameless plug. I have game dev streams. Yeah, the game we're working on is very reminiscent. Well, it takes some heavy inspirations from Noida, just because of those how we used to play that. You know. Have I played Repo? Yes. Played it with Okami Sky a couple of times. I am interested to see, if I end up playing that again, how the new monsters and some of the new movement mechanics play into it. I'm really hoping that we get kind of the spirit of how we played Noida with the kind of the community mod in the game I'm working on. I want to get that same feel. Out of control customization with a healthy dose of chaos. We're getting far enough along that it's given us the targeter now. We are definitely going to have to move the platforms around to get some of the sides. General plan here is that we will keep playing PowerWash until we're done with it. And then we will switch back over to our programming-heavy streams. Still occasionally popping in some... yeah, Tess, Laura mentioned that Brotato got an update. I was looking at the stuff, and the banning... the bans was, I think, the biggest change that they added. Looks like it's if everybody, remove this from the pool for everybody, I think is what it looks like. But don't know how it actually plays in multiplayer. Worth a revisit, you know? You're doing for monies. Let's do it. Let's... that. And then we're going to grab our 3,000. We only have one extension right now, but that'll have to do. We will make it work. Yeah, we don't have as much reach, but we've got a lot more power now. There's Ulysses. Yoink. My amazing power washer telekinesis here. Man. They give us some distance here. Nice. There we go. There we go. Can we get away with white now? Oh, yeah. That was a big power boost. I think this is one of the most interesting thing about simulator games, is that you will hear that, where it's like, you know, the player is super happy that they got an upgrade to their, you know, their lawnmower or something like that. There's a bit of there's a little dose of the surreal in it, you know? Like, that's a thing that real people do, absolutely. They're like, oh man, I've got this new lawnmower and it's amazing. It's just not something that tends to translate into video games as much. Probably have waited until we could get more of the upgrades, more of the extensions for this thing. But just the rate boost that we got being able to use the white nozzle here, I think shows that it was worth it. That ability to just cover so much extra ground. Very nice. This is about as far down as we're going to be able to get on the edge without potentially slipping off again. It's not like there's fall damage, but it's inconvenient. E.g., what are you doing hosing down an airship in the middle of my recreation grounds? Please take care not to spray any flex back onto the bandstand. We can't afford any dirtification this close to the festival. Oh, yeah, there's the bandstand. Any other familiar things around? Okay, there's the amusement park. Can we see the, Can't see the shooting gallery. Might be able to, but it's too far for me to be sure. I still love how, like, every person has a different name for your company, essentially. That being one of the gags from the first game, where the guy who was helping you get jobs kept giving them, like, kept changing what he called the business. Hey, troublemaker, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oof. Well, she didn't turn off any of the audio, so we've at least got that. Molly has come to sit with me. When she does that, I have to remind myself to pay attention to the audio board because she will walk right over it, and of all of the cats, she is the only one that manages to mess with all of the buttons when she does that. The others can walk right over that thing and not disturb anything. She will generally disturb everything. And it's that blundering sort of, there's no actual malice here, it's just they don't care. Can't be bothered. Coming through. He is very drowsy right now. Say that it's not similar over here. You know, sleep has not been great. So that's not a new thing. It's much more of a state of being. Well, on the plus side, sleep has not been absent. Let's say, you know, mediocre. Going in the other direction now, trying to get as much further down as we can, so that when we shift back over to the platforms on the sides, that we can cover as much ground as we can. We'll definitely have missed some stuff, but I think it won't be as much as it could have been. So Sherbet will jump. So Molly has a habit of getting stuck in the laundry hamper. She will climb up onto and fall down into it, but she is not a nimble cat by any means. So she has trouble jumping out. Now Sherbet will climb up in there, hop in, and he's able to hop right out. No problems at all. But Molly will get stuck in there. So every now and then, if she's not around, I have to check the laundry hamper and see if she's sitting down in there, mournfully scratching at the side. So you can see his coat of arms has his cat, which is Ulysses. Like we currently take care of that cat because the mayor ran off. The mayor has professed an interest in reclaiming the cat. On the last map, which was the house of a lawyer who was in frequent opposition with the mayor, they inquired as to what kind of legal footing are we on to keep the cat, and the answer was not great footing. I mean, at the very least, the cats have got to feature into some more plot points. Because eventually he's going to either take Ulysses back by mundane means, or, Ulysses will go missing and we'll find out that he was snatched in the night kind of thing. Well, she. Ulysses is female. That being one of the indicators, it was like, you don't deserve this cat. You should never be in a position to find out that your pet was a different gender unless it's like a bird. Fish, some amphibians. Ew. Just about to the point of hunting down the little things that we missed, Thing's a bit of a hassle, but really just that, you have this big curved surface. Alright, what do we got? The engine lights, cowling, and the upper little envelope thing. that was the dish. Let's hop down and... the upper panel's there. Oh, okay. I think the engine on the back of it. Hey there, radio. Welcome once again. See some of it there. Okay, and then a top panel. I think I'll be able to jump over there. Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good today. Aggregate speckles that it doesn't count as complete, I think. Gotta be something bigger up here that I've missed. Okay. We will find you. Anything that still counts as dirt will get those little markers on it again. So I could potentially catch it by using the pulse over and over. But this will reveal all of it as I sweep through. At least it should. Seems like we might have another tiny seam in the wall going on here. Definitely more to this. Not this, that's the ring. There we go. Okay, we're back up to 800, so we should be able to get another one of the extensions. They cover a lot of ground in this one. Excellent work, Dirt Finder. Next stop for my airship, the wonderful industrial town of Fumarole. Kick off my tour of the county. To be honest, I'll be glad to get that one out of the way. They love me there, of course, but they're very in your face, which is why I'll be remaining 4,000 feet up. And don't think I've forgotten about my cat. You'll be hearing from my lawyers. So how to unpack all this? As far as I can tell, there are only 2 A Lummixes in the entire world. But we both live in the same county, with entries in the same recruitment directory. Melts the mind, I know. I'm Axel Lummix, hairstylist extraordinaire. The other A Lummix is Arthur, who's a temporary supervisor specializing in mining ops. Guess which one of us got called up to run things here for the day? Let's quickly get some extensions for the 3000 here. Get the +2. So this morning I get a call from an agency asking me to get myself to a mine at Mount Rushless. That's weird, I think. But then I think, don't be judgy, McFrownerson. Miners need haircuts too. Reach the point cap. Why would there be a point cap? Game. And outfit washer. Oh. There. Capping my points. Like, legitimately, why would there be a point cap? Why would the point cap be 2,000? And again, if the game was trying to be evil for, like, microtransaction purposes, you would absolutely have point caps. Is gonna need some soap. Definitely going to be a soap operation here. Like, I get, hey, you've got lots of points, you should spend them. Like, a notification telling you, hey, you could be spending points for stuff. That makes sense. But, like, cutting off the number at an arbitrary point, that's odd. If you are handing off in charging numbers that merit that your point total can't can't be defined in terms of, like, longs, then you're doing it wrong. I drive out here, all excited at the possibilities, but when I arrive, they immediately pop a hard hat on me. Not only is that extremely rude, but also, do you realize how long it took to get my pompadour popping like this? It's almost like they have some sort of, like, like, wild guess for me as far as how this operates, is that you effectively have a multi-layer mask and a multi-layer texture over top of it. So when I, hit it with the gun, it's modifying the mask. And the various layers of mask determine which part of the dirt is shown. Yep. Definitely got to be at least a couple of layers to account for sometimes needing something more intense to get the entirety of it off. Like we can see happening right there. Rust, in particular, tends to be one of the types that is stubborn. I keep confusing the crouch with the turn off freeform mode. Hello, Molly. Hello. Oof. Hello. Good touch with the soap is as it fades, that is the surface, that shape that it took, is the surface that the soap is acting on. I wonder if TYRE means something. Like, is there a industry meaningful difference? Well, thank you, Lights Out. I appreciate it. Well, welcome to being a Nyanite. Your profile icon shall now begin accruing cats. Did I stop, Molly? Did I stop? Phoned my agency guy, and he explains that he booked the wrong lummox. Fantastic, I think. Now what? Cozy yet? Huh? Oh, that would be kind of hilarious if there is a corresponding story about how the other guy got sent to, like, a house call or something like that and ended up trashing the place. I feel like it doesn't count as a decal if it has to be screwed on. Hey, Twitch's latest arbitrary follower goal was met. Thank you, Lights Out. I believe you can manually set the follower goals on Twitch, but I mean, maybe if I have some sort of, like, special event, you know, a thing. What is the point of this game? Is there anything else to it, aside from having a sense of satisfaction that you cleaned something? Well, that is the surface level. That is the core gameplay, Thrax. There is a story. Like, there is a plot that unfolds. But core gameplay is the satisfaction of scrubbing the dirt away, bit by bit. Because if you clean it, you get that little ding sound. Visual and auditory ASMR kind of experience. Very nice. Ha! Toy Story reference. Ah, Toy Story 4 was nightmarish. Like, yeah, there were quality issues, but I mean, like, You showed this to children? Was it 3 or 4? Well, whichever one had the purple bear. I think, like, Toy Story 1 at its time was, like, an animated, like, a revolution in animation. It was a full, like, movie-style, feature-length, 3D rendered thing. Has the art aged well? No. But it was definitely a thing. And I would say Toy Story 2 carried some of that, like the quality of it. But especially as Pixar kind of progressed, and I don't know if Disney Pixar was involved in the later ones, but I would say kind of the momentum, the quality of it fell off. Agency guy tells me to improvise. He says that 93% of any job is one big confidence trick. Well, I could do the fandango before I could walk, so confidence is one thing I do have. Shield definitely has something hiding around it. Yeah, that's why I was referring, Tass, to one of the later Toy Stories. The one that essentially confronts that they decided that the concept of mortality, to an extent, the cessation of being in a very stark and horrifying way, was the proper theme for a Toy Story movie. In that one, this happens to one of the villains. They get strapped to the front of a truck. That one was Toy Story 3. But yeah, I mean, it's not even like a theme of mourning, of moving on, which was more 2, I believe. It was very much facing your own... Yes, yes, the incinerator scenes. Like, it's a heavy concept. Free dad jokes. Leave it like that, just to be sure. Yeah, took it a while to buffer back up there. Much annoyed. Much annoyed. Yeah, as is tradition, something has to go wrong. Okay. Get in there. Pre-soap these. This way, when we climb up, we'll be able to cover more ground. The rust tends to be a particularly stubborn type of dirt to remove. As one would expect. Get that fun bubble sound when we're working with the soap. wonder what it is they do to actually clean a cement mixer, given that, a good part of its base operation is going to result in a buildup of concrete on it. Like, is there a chemical agent that will essentially help strip it away? One would expect so. Not like you would want to have to replace these things frequently. Hitboxes on that are a little bit off. All right, what do we got? Quite a bit yet. There's going to be more of the roof there. Employing soap. We are almost there. Chute extension stand, door guard, and wheel. door guard is here. One of these wheels. There we go. Is this Jet and Flo's Angels? I need a hand flipping my farmhouse. Oh, okay. Message came through from Lore that was not picked up, but thank you for the interactions over there on Twitch. Apparently they've started tracking watch streaks on Twitch again or something. To make a couple of loops around this one. Arthur Lummox, the actual temporary supervisor at Fortune's Mine. Public access to this mine is strictly prohibited, and you shouldn't have been here. We'll need you to sign an NDA to the effect and trust that you will destroy any videographic evidence of your work. That said, the cleaning itself was outstanding. Please don't speak of any of this to anyone, ever. That's actually... Okay, there's nothing I can see there. Just... Oh, it's you. Great. Love the name change. It suits you. You'll be pleased to know that you're not the only one adapting. With everything that's gone on lately, we're trying our hands at regenerative farming. This barn is to be our new farm shop, front and center. It needs to look the part, and I know you've got that covered. Don't worry yourself about my pooches running around, getting in the way and biting your ankles. I've sent everyone I could find off to the dog cafe for the day. Bubbles. There's Ulysses. Where is Squeak? There we go. Windmill. Okay, well, you know, pretty much what it says on the tin, barn and silo, so. We have 700. Do we have the extension yet? We don't have the next extension. That'll be at 1,000. Alright, the moss layer is not thin, so definitely need the stronger jet here. I don't know if you've heard about all the gerrymandering our friendly Mayor Jeff Jefferson's been doing lately. Oh. Topical. Well, he's just changed up the town boundaries so that our little farm's in Pumpton now, not Muckingham. I know exactly why. So this presents the beginning of why is he doing this? Why did it become important for him to be mayor of the county? So easy to just lock in on this game. We'll have to get up there so we can hit the tops of these railings here. Door border things. But we've got our scissor lift nearby, so... Make sure we've got this side as well. There we are. Everything that we can reach while we're here. Just about in a solid position to do this part. Scissor lift is definitely very handy. Abseil rig, also really handy, but it really is for very particular circumstances that it will show up. Okay. 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 Kind of wish the little triangles were broken into pieces, you know? I crave the reward sound, and they withhold it. Yeah, we had a little connection breakdown earlier. I don't know when it started, but... it seems to have passed. Welcome back, everybody that got bumped away. Whoop. And up here. So there's the least convenient path, the one that's hardest for them to move through, goes over the soundboard, which means that's the path that they move through. Yeah, that's as high as we can go with the scissor lift. Noted. So we are going to need to use the scaffold to get some of this here. Well, didn't need to jump clear, but, well, this gives us an angle to catch some of the stuff we would have had a hard time getting to anyway. Happy little accident. Odd little curvature on that. Okay. That's all we'll get from there. There we go. That stuff is caked on there. Okay. Not like I'm a stormtrooper or something. Of course I can hit the broadside of a barn. Looking at write-ups of people that figured out what, like, the different percentages in XCOM actually mean, like, what it really means when it says, like, oh, you have a 90% chance to hit this target that is in these circumstances. It's like, well, that's not what it actually means. Then you put it next to a game like Phoenix Point, where it's, the reticle is right on their face. What does that mean? It will hit them. It will hit them in the face. They're probably going to die. With that same logic applying to, like, enemies and whatnot. Oh, you were caught out in the open? Sucks to be you. Prepare to lose most of your limbs. What I was aiming at there, but, you know. side. Give them a thorough gutter cleaning here. Seems like the gutters will be a non-trivial portion of this. Okay. Carve out some of the other objects here. I like the pretty much telekinesis we have as far as grabbing those objects. The full-on yoink, you know? Something here. Okey-doke. Beverage before I keep forgetting. Easy to let yourself feel worn out if you're not sufficiently hydrated. An aspect to the whole hydration craze that was out there for a while, where, like, it's possible to be overhydrated. Like, if you really set out to and just did the, like, the trends of, like, drinking piles of water, just, you know, bottles and bottles and bottles of water. For a while, there was this trend of having, like, a gallon jug that you would drink some amount from, like, throughout the day. Like, you had to have at least this many jugs of water every day for maximum healthiness. Like, yeah, too much water in your system can mess you up. I mean, it's definitely in the U.S., but I feel like it's just humanity in general has a problem with um, taking things to extremes. You know, if a little is good for me, then clearly all of it should be good for me. You know, if 1 is good, then 10 must be 10 times better than good. Diet trends and similar that have doctors and scientists being like, no, stop it, stop it. Dang it. Move ladder to side, grab other ladder. Yeah, the current trend of things are like this one simple trick. Those, to some extent, are extremely concerning because they tend to address, like, non-trivial medical conditions. Or like we mentioned last time, they indicate that an extreme result is what you can expect, what you should want. See, now we're in Pumpton. We can't draw water from the Kalakalama River. Our farms instantly become completely unsustainable. Mayor's trying to shut me down. Presumably revenge for my monks from the temple. Up there on the hill, egging his mansion years ago. That was a level. Some monks got upset with him, so they egged his mansion. The man's pettiness knows no bounds. Mayor really has a lesser Lex Luthor vibe going. Your lawful evil bureaucratic villain. I will crush you with the system. Here. Get away with getting a little closer and using green? We can, but it's a narrow thing here. Let's accelerate a little. The thing that bugs me the most about the advertisements, that the AI-generated one simple trick advertisements, is how flagrant it is. Like, it is very apparent that they are just cranking these ads out, and they swap out, either the miracle product that the man doesn't want you to have, or the secret trick that is being taken down. Like that is not an advertisement that should be able to air. Just because it's transparently lying. But because we have a very buyer beware setup in the US, at least, it's, well, you should have done your own research. The most obnoxious recent one are the ion air filters. But they're not even showing like the big vertical ones with the charged like metal plates in them. They're showing one that you just plug into an outlet that is about that tall, like a few inches tall. And it's like, oh, it's, not only is it more effective than a HEPA filter, it'll fill a whole room. And it's, no, it absolutely won't and can't. And if it could, you should be very concerned about putting it in your home. Like, if it's knocking out stuff in the air at that distance around corners, then it's doing something to your body, too. Cleans and purifies your air with the power of gamma radiation. Each air filter contains over 10,000 clinotopes of, purifying power. Clinotopes may contain uranium. Just like Lovecraft stories, looking at the sciencey things that give people superpowers will tell you what sciencey thing did people really not understand at the time. Radioactive creatures, for sure. I mean, effectively, anything to do with a type of radiation might as well have been sorcery during the period that a lot of those were cooked up. you'd also have the taught the mystic way of foreigners style superheroes. You know, the Batman learned his ridiculous wouldn't possibly work martial arts from, you know, a secret monastery kind of stuff. Oh yeah, there's always the ones that are just flagrant. You had quite a few villains that, you know, it wasn't always during those periods because there's always plenty of racism to go around. But the World Wars were especially rife with opportunities to create the stereotype villains. You know what? He doesn't he doesn't figure how us country folk fight back. We've been studying up on polycultures, rotating crops and animals, minimal water usage, just what we needed. If the county mayor thinks he's stitched us up, then he can think again. That's another one. You know the phrase "another thing coming." You know, if he thinks, you know, if they think this is true, they've got another thing coming. The origin phrase for that is if they think this is the case, they have another think coming. It is, you know, they will need to think again kind of phrase. Just like you will hear jury rigged to be like, you know, hacked together, a bodge job kind of stuff. But it's jerry rigged. Not in common parlance anymore, but those distortions of phrases that happen over time and effectively create new ones with new implications. For monies. Ah, we have enough monies. Monies. Okay. There, we're back at full strength again. Full versatility. What's another thing that's happened recently? Oh, Vampire Survivors. They've got a new free update that is the Balatro crossover. With like 4 new clown characters, series of new things. Remote multiplayer. The fact that they keep adding new stuff to the game is another one of those testaments to, if you make a good game, it's a good game. Like, just that. It doesn't need to have particular bells and whistles. It just has to be what it is and do what it does. To some extent, I think it's why a great many of the let's recreate this game that was a niche title often fall flat, is because they just try to remake what it was, like what they remember of it, instead of like completely recreating what it was in that scenario. It's because if you'll get people think this is what it was, and it doesn't carry anymore. It like, that's not what people actually wanted or enjoyed about it. It was something else. But the nostalgia of the creator presents it as, well, it was this thing. Okay. But is that actually what it was? You know, did you execute on what you claimed and what it was? I mean, more to the point, that's why in general, remakes and remasters have a risk surface to them. Because if you try to bring back what people loved about something, you might not, you might miss or just not realize that that's not what they cared about. Yep. You know, what actually was this game? What was it that caused people to like it? And can you recapture that fully? And if you aren't confident that you can, then making it a new thing. Doing a good job of just making a whole new thing. And whole new thing does not mean, you know, something that has never existed in the history of man before. Just make it its own thing and make it do that thing well. Where do we want to go next? Let's get the gutter out of the way. Not sure if we've got rust here, but seem to be able to cut through it reasonably well, just kind of waggling the washer like this, so... I have to remember you can hold left click down to keep the spray going, but you can also just press right click and it'll kind of auto fire. It's not a big exertion, but it'll save some wear and tear on your finger. It's very much less of a thing now, but I do recall when game controllers had no concessions at all for things like ergonomics. Whoops. Like the original Nintendo controllers, the buttons were sharp. Like, the button was concave and created a kind of a point, like a hard ridge around the edge of the button that would dig in. So as well as just the corners of the controller. Real easy to develop calluses from that. And or blisters. Another example of back in my day is often excludes the, back in my day, it was real bad. Like, there's a reason we don't do that no more, Grandpa. I had to walk to school in the snow. We didn't have snow days. Well, yeah, but then we realized frostbite's bad, old man. It impedes learning and development. I mean, I always do hold out hope that one day the prior generations will share with us the technology of bootstrap-based levitation. It hasn't happened yet, but there's always the possibility. Remote school and, like, limiting, like, direct class interactions to when it is necessary to the lesson to have that sort of FaceTime. Those kind of things are all healthy markers, and they are unfortunately continued victims of both random random politics interference, as well as just the back in my day isms. Like, we didn't do that. It was better back then. No, it wasn't. Demonstrably, statistically, objectively, it wasn't. Peak cleaning? What do you like with coordinates? We found a goodness knows what over at Power Falls, but it's way out in the wilderness. Hey, another shrine of some sort. still interested to see what the mayor is doing with the magic statue gem that he definitely stole. Old weather vane. Some sort of verdigris-like build-up on the weather vane, so... I expect it's kind of regional, but weather vanes even have like versions of, well, there are some places that the fact that there's a rooster on it contributes to its naming, and I wonder why. Not like I wonder why they would name it after the shape, but I wonder why that shape is used. Because generally, a rooster is more commonly associated with the dawn, not with the direction the wind is blowing. Perhaps there is folklore that I am not familiar with. Sure we haven't missed anything here. Seems like there's some interiors in the vents. That'll do there. Go for the upper roof segment next. when you're in full mobility mode for aiming the power washer, you have edge of screen turning, so that's why I'll sometimes like flick around in the edge like that, so I don't have to stop and restart the motion. 10 to 6 one way, half a dozen the other, but... Oh, what was another fun one? Baker's Dozen. The fact that a baker's dozen is 13. We talked about last time how there were, like, throughout history there have been extensive food regulations. This originated with the classic question, you know, is X a sandwich? So is a hot dog a sandwich? And a lot of the cases where there is a legal reason, that there is a law that says this constitutes a sandwich, and thus this thing that we might not consider a sandwich is a sandwich. Baker's Dozen falls into one of those categories because loaves of bread had to contain, like, per unit, or, you know, per amount of money or per weight, they had to be of this composition. So an extra one would be included to ensure they did not break the law. So when you ordered a dozen, you got the extra one just in case. They didn't want to get caught up in a, you know, gluten-based sting operation. It's fun to learn those kind of things. It's also fun to learn, well, not fully fun, but very interesting to learn when it's something that you considered very true, whether it's a little factoid or some element of history or something like that. Turns out that not only is that, like, not true, is that it hasn't been true for a while. Like, the knowledge that that's wrong has been out there for a while. I mentioned Mini Minuteman earlier. Again, good little history channel. The newest video that they put out is about the U.S. or the U.S. Roanoke colony, and there has been some mythology surrounding that about the disappearance of the colony, with the only trace that was by folklore. The word Croatoan carved in a tree. And apparently it has been known, and more recently, like, extensively shown, no, they know what happened to that colony. And it's like, that's neat. I must watch that video and get the full details. Yeah, exactly, Tass. It's Croatoan is the name of an island to the south, and the native people living there were the Croatans. So they went there and lived with them, which isn't too surprising because a lot of the colonists, especially the initial ones that moved out there, were woefully undersupplied and not ready for the climate and just the hardships that they would face there. So the local populations, not infrequently, helped them a great deal. and were thanked in various degrees of "you monster," you know. You know, we know you've helped us out of the goodness of your heart several times, but you know, you're refusing to just keep giving us more, and we feel like we deserve it. Well, we can't have that in our history books anymore. That sounds like, you know, people might have been evil. Very specifically, people that look like us might have been evil. We can't have that. Whoops. But it's that sort of revisionist history, but, you know, we don't like the idea that we did a bad thing. It's like, no, it's legitimately good for you to be able to point at, we did a bad thing, we acknowledge that it was a bad thing, and we don't do that bad thing anymore. You know, that shows that you know it was a bad thing. You excluding this part makes me feel like you don't think it was a bad thing. Which is, you know, exactly the case in that sort of scenario, but... Oh, good times, though. Good times. Learning can be legitimately fun. Even if that means learning that you need to relearn something. Strongly unrelated, but I have been thinking, like, in my constant musings about my code, one of the things which we are not going to be doing in the near future, I want to look at better implemented object caching. One of the limitations right now is that we're still recreating a lot of nodes and related objects, physics structures, and that kind of stuff. And that's not good. Fellow fans of mystery, anyone got any juicy theories on who might have stolen Merman's gem? But in Godot, anything that is part of the scene tree is expensive. And we want to mitigate any creations of that kind of thing if we can avoid it. So some of that stuff will be doing things like getting some of the direct server interactions back together. Now that our collision system is a lot more robust, maybe we can squeeze out more performance there. But the reason that we're not doing that kind of thing right off the bat is that right now most of the processing time is taken up by just the raw behavior logic of the entities. So if I'm going to implement new performance, it needs to be there to get the best value. And because I don't have a way to do that yet, we're sticking with let's get the spawners working. Like, there's a lot of optimizations out there that are for, like, there are many, many things on the screen. But one of the things that most of those rely upon as far as the logic behind what the optimization is that the objects are all things that move effectively in a single vector over time, to where there is pretty much no calculation that happens about it. It's just like, given that the projectile started in this position at this time, it is an algorithmic certainty that at this next time slice, it will be here. And in the same vein, at this prior time slice, it is exactly here. Because there is no maybe about it. There is no if about it. It is, this is true absolutely every time. And we don't have that. Like, everything about our system defies the possibility of that. Or at least defies the ease of doing that. Nice. Some part of this roof is not done yet. There's plenty of little bits along here. This implies to me, though, that it's got to be like... yeah. The button wasn't cooperating. There we go. Oh, if this is necessarily better than just using green. It's very similar. Coverage per sweep is less consistent, but it's at least as good, if not better. We're at it. Let's get this gutter out of the way. Goal is currently to knock this one out, and then we will reassess afterwards. Not a, earth-shattering idea for a goal, but is what is. That's not good enough. Yeah, it's right here. This'll do. Definitely need a second pass here. just make a decent first pass. Slightly change our angle here. This higher powered one, you can really hear the difference between some of the nozzle heads there. This roof out of the way as we can each pass. Windows, you want to make sure that you approach it from both angles like this to get the deep edges out of the way. Periodic squeak when you're moving around. The amazing traction that this guy's boots have. falling off while backtracking is it's a constant issue. Finding myself craning my neck to try to look around something. Beverage. See, so we have the 3 on the bed. We have Sky and Ember on the desk, and Molly under my feet. Sky is in Ember's spot, so she's angry loafed on the side of the desk. He starts moving, and she immediately looks over where he is to see if he's going to vacate, but he didn't. Like, she's comfy, she's toasting her belly, but her ears are a little back. Like, yeah, this is comfy, but you know what would be comfier? My spot. Angry Loaf. That little hop and flail you can do to sometimes catch the last little bit of something. Cuddy Sarkeesian. Yeah, I know exactly who it was. Peter Wrangler, 38 Acacia Avenue. He's always moaning about the merman hum. Plus, he owns an angle grinder. I know because he was always cutting bricks in his yard, case closed. I assume the assumption being that he had a tool that would have been convenient for in the pursuit of removing the jewel. Things here. Yep. Game really does create that nice, just kind of neutral sound to it. It's not the same sound, but it's a similar vibe to, like, you know, heavy rainfall on windows kind of stuff. Just turn around before we yeet ourselves off the edge again. I think the game part of our cycle post-PowerWash needs to be revisiting Hitman and Blueprints. We need to get some streams of those rolling again. Getting there. this. Starting to get a little drowsy. What's up with that? But we soldier on. Angle can be a bit awkward on some of these, but just can't move so fast that we disconnect from the roof, you know? That. Okay. We're gonna preemptively do this because I'm about to nod off. So we'll need a little bit of rest. We are definitely going to shoot for Saturday for the next stream. Don't have any particular plans for tomorrow, but Monday and Friday are kind of grab bag days. But with that said, I do hope you had a good time watching with us today. If you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like, follow, subscribe, comment, all that kind of thing. all of those kind of things help the channel grow. If you'd like to consider financially supporting the channel, you can do so through platform-specific means like memberships and subscriptions, as well as through off-platform systems like Ko-fi and Patreon. But I hope the rest of your day is good, and I will see you next time.